say that I haven't had time.
Yeah. Hi, Haley.
Hello, Jenna.
So we just wanted to come on a little bit early. We're about 6 minutes early, and we just wanted to welcome y'all and say hello. We'll do another formal welcome when we actually get started, but we just wanted to be here in case you came by.
And
Go ahead.
Should people, if you can't see or hear Jenna, let us know in the chat.
Yeah. If you can hear or see either both of us, please say both. Both to both.
So how can we tell if anyone's here? Is it the little 8 at the top? Does that show folks are here?
I don't know.
I don't know.
I see. Oh, I need to make my screen a little bigger. Let me see.
I think it does, because I'm seeing more people come in. There's 10 people now, so I think that's
so fun. Hi, 10 people.
Hello, 10 people that are here.
Okay, they can hear and see both of us.
Yay. Okay, I'm not seeing that in the chat.
The right-hand top corner.
Let me. Oh, yay. Okay, I found it. Yay. Hello, Carrie and Kristen.
So exciting.
Awesome.
Yes. Okay, Haley.
Yes.
Your week has been insane.
Oh my gosh.
What's going on?
Okay, so last Thursday through Monday, my good friend Julia and her 7 kids drove to hang out with us for 4 days. So it was super fun, but like totally nuts. Yay, we're so excited too. Hi, Kristen. And so that was kind of a crazy beginning to a crazy week. Hi, Julie. So this week was prep for a huge event at the farm where we live. So Daniel was making food for 500 people on Saturday.
That is insane.
Huge event. It went really well, but it was just kind of crazy. And it wasn't just like I'm prepping food. It was like I'm like butchering pigs I raised. And then like
pigs,
you know, like all this pork for pulled pork tacos, and like I'm harvesting radishes for pickled radish slaw, and like it was just so involved. So it was so fun. Hi, Sarah. So yeah, it was kind of crazy. So we had like a crazy weekend, and then it's been a crazy week for me work-wise.
Yeah.
So, like I'll probably crash right after this, guys.
I bet. What time is it where you are?
It's almost 8.
Oh, okay.
It's almost 8. So, and my kids took naps, and sometimes when they take naps, they don't fall asleep till like 10.
Right.
We will see.
Your oldest still takes a nap?
Yeah. If we are like, if Daniel or I lay down with him, he'll fall asleep.
That's cute.
Mm-hmm. So, but it's really, right now it's the 4-year-old. She's like the troublemaker at bedtime.
That's hilarious.
Sleeping.
Yeah.
I think her biological clock is a little bit different. So like she'll sleep later than the other kids.
Oh. Amanda, what time is it where you are? You said good morning. And anyone who's coming on right now, in case you are not chatting, there's a little chat option to the right, top corner. And you can click on that and chat with each other, or just say hi. Hi, Carolina. Carolina? I don't know. What's your guess?
I think Carolina.
Yeah? Probably.
I wonder if we can tell how many people are here yet.
Oh, yeah. I didn't see that number like you did.
Okay, maybe it's because I had chat open. I saw the number earlier.
Oh, 68 active viewers.
Oh, cool. Hello.
67, as I said that. They must have been.
And it looks like we've got about 250 signed up. So
yeah, that's nuts.
A lot of people, y'all.
Heather, Manda, Carrie, Heidi, Haley, Amy, Becky, Renee. Hi, everyone. So fun.
Yes.
Oh, more chats. Yeah, you're all saying hi to each other. Good. Okay, I Snapchatted earlier that I was on my way to Starbucks, and then their internet was not working outside because I wanted to be outside so that people didn't think I was crazy inside, like talking super
seriously.
loud and, you know, and cringing on their like coffee dates. Anyway, infringing. Haley.
Yes. Can you still see and hear me? Uh-oh, I don't see Jenna, but I think she's gonna come back. She'll text me if she needs us to do something else technical. But hello, everybody. You can say hi in the chats. Hi, Eileen and Jess and Melissa. So we'll get started in just a second. Hopefully Jenna will come back or text me and let me know what technical things we need to work out. So we're just fixing a few things. I'm gonna shoot her a text and see if she's coming back. And then we will get the show on the road. And let me know, would y'all let me know if you can see and hear me and if you can see and hear Jenna? Jenna, you're back.
What happened while I was gone?
Nothing.
Did everyone leave?
No, I don't think so.
I don't see the chat anymore.
Okay, I can see the chat. Would you let us know if you can see Jenna and I? Okay, Amanda says I can see you and Jenna. Can
This
see
is like torture.
Okay, they can see and hear us both. Okay, good. Oh, thanks, Jenna.
Okay, I need to go to a different screen then. Okay, hi everyone. It's 6:01. Sorry, we're getting a little late. I may have some technical difficulties, so if that happens, Haley, could you just like keep going?
I'll just
Is that
keep.
how it worked?
I think so. I think everybody. Hey, y'all! When Jenna disappeared, you could still see and hear me, right? Let's see what y'all.
It was just like me being like Casper and needing to leave for a minute.
Yeah.
Okay, hi everyone. I just want to welcome you. It's we're gonna get started here soon. So sorry that I left for a little while. Hopefully that won't happen too many times. But if anything, Haley's here. So I just want to introduce myself. My name is Jenna Gizar, and I am the founder and creative director of Blessed Is She Women's Ministry. And first I have to talk about, I have a husband and we've been married for about 8 years and 3 beautiful daughters, one daughter that we miscarried in September. So she is already up in heaven waiting for us, hopefully. And what else? Oh yeah, Blessed Is She is an online women's ministry and community. And we have writers that write daily devotions every single day that can be sent to your email. And we also have really active online community via Facebook groups online. And we have like regional Facebook groups and then some like phase of life Facebook groups. So we have a lot of engagement. We're basically just women working on our prayer lives and doing that alongside other sisters and in a spirit of community and sisterhood. So you can find, if you're at blessedisshe.net, you're already here. Feel free to look around. There's a little tab called community and you can engage in our Facebook groups there. If not, our website is blessedisshe.net. And yeah, we look forward to chatting with you there. And I'm really excited for tonight to be with Haley Stewart of Carrots for Michaelmas. I am the queen of uncraftiness, and I am not good at anything that has to do with like home life. And I actually just wrote an email to our Blessed Is She subscribers saying that like I typically with like home stuff, including cooking dinner, I'm like, oh, if I'm not excellent at it, then I'm just not going to do it. And so it's just something that doesn't get done. But I feel like this is something that it doesn't have to be all or nothing. Like I'm really excited to hear you, Haley, talk about like simple ways to get started. And anyway, I'm just really excited to be here. So Haley, take it away.
All right. Well, first of all, thank you so much for coming. I'm so excited. It seems like a lot of people showed up, and that's so fun. And it's your Sunday night, and I just so appreciate that y'all are here to hang out with us. And huge thanks to Jenna for organizing this and setting it all up. You're awesome, Jenna. So I'll just introduce myself and my family really quick so you know who I am and what I'm doing. I'm Haley Stewart, and I blog over at carrotsformichaelmas.com. And I'm married to Daniel. And we have 3 kids. Benjamin is 7, Lucy is 4, and Gwen is 2. And about a year ago, we kind of changed our whole life and went on an adventure. My husband was in a really, it was a 9-to-5 job that was not feeding his soul at all. So he was pretty miserable. He'd been in that for about 5 years, and we were kind of stuck. We owned a house in Florida, and the job market there was really bad. So about a year ago, we put our house on the market, and he got an internship at the World Hunger Relief Farm, where we live now in Waco, Texas. And he's the livestock intern learning sustainable agriculture. So where we live now, it's kind of a nonprofit, faith-based training farm. And so we sold our house, we got rid of most of our stuff, and we packed up our 3 kids and moved across the country. So we live on the farm now in a tiny little 650 square foot apartment, and we don't have flushing toilets. It's like very sustainable. It's like the essence of crunchiness. So that is us and what we're up to. So I homeschool my kids, and I work from home as a writer and a blogger. I co-host a podcast with Christy Eisinger called Fountains of Carrots. And I'm a Catholic convert. So I am not a liturgical year expert. I haven't been doing this my whole life, but it's something that I'm really passionate about because it's really blessed our family and pointed us to Christ. So I thought I would share a little bit about how my husband and I encountered the liturgical year. Oh, you love the podcast. Thanks so much, Heather and Anne-Marie. I got some notes because I've just got a lot of things I want to get through while we're here. So I've got some notes so I don't forget everything I want to talk to y'all about. So if I look down a little bit, I'm sorry, I'll try to stay with you guys. So about 6 years ago, my husband and I converted to Catholicism. So we grew up in wonderful Protestant Christian homes. But one of the things that wasn't really part of our Christian tradition was the liturgical year. So my parents started going to an Anglican church when I was in high school. And so I kind of got a taste for the liturgical year a little bit then. But I still went to college really not knowing exactly what it was or much about it. And so my husband and I really encountered it in college in some of our religion classes. And one of our professors was just this wonderful East Texas Baptist man who is super Catholic friendly and just the best, like practically like led us to the church, even though he's not Catholic. So he was explaining the liturgical year and what most of us who are Protestants in the Bible Belt grew up practicing. And so he drew a line across the board. They did a mark for Christmas and a mark for Easter and a mark for 4th of July, because those are like the 3 days of the year that are going to look different in church. But it was just missing so many of these amazing, rich, like this treasure trove of the wonderful liturgical year. We're just missing out on a lot of it. So he explains like Advent and why we do it and how it leads us to Christmas and what Lent is and why we celebrate the saints. And it's just, it kind of blew my mind. It was just so beautiful. Oh, hey, Baylor Catholics. I love the chat box. It's so fun. So at that point, my husband and I were discerning whether we wanted to enter the church. And so we started practicing the liturgical year and learning about it. And it was just really amazing to bring that into our home and make it part of the way we were living life and thinking about time and our faith. And so I think that was one of the things that really led us into the faith and helped us learn how to live out the faith. So I think that tonight we're going to talk about incorporating the liturgical year into our homes. And this is for uncrafty people like me. Like if there's glitter, like I'm allergic to it. I cannot handle it. And like if it involves more than throwing construction paper and crayons at my children, it's not going to happen. Like, this is not my gifting at all. And so there's just so much out there that are awesome activities for kids that are just so great for moms who love to do this kind of thing. But that is not me. If that is not you, that is okay. We are not going to talk about crafts tonight. We're just going to talk about simple ways to make this part of our family life that are not going to overwhelm us or stress us out, because the liturgical year is first and foremost a gift. It is a gift to us from the church. So it is not something that should overwhelm us and be one more thing to stress us out. So first, let's just talk a little bit about what the liturgical year is and why it's important to our family's spiritual growth, and different ways to make it part of our family culture. I just know for so many of us, especially if we're moms, maybe especially if we are moms of young children or any age, we just have a lot going on. We have a lot on our plates. And so thinking about bringing the liturgical year, this new thing that maybe we're not familiar with, maybe we're cradle Catholics, but this wasn't really something that was in our family culture growing up. Maybe we're converts, or maybe your sister's in a different Christian tradition and it's something you're interested in. And it just feels really overwhelming. And that is not how I want it to feel for you. So my goal tonight is for you to come out of this feeling like the liturgical year is accessible to me. I can enjoy this gift. I can make it part of my family. This is not something that is going to stress me out or overwhelm me and just be one more thing that I have to check off on my list. That's not what I want for you to feel. So I want you to think about that your family is unique. It is your family, and it's not going to look quite like any other family in your parish. It's not going to look quite like any other family on the internet. And so when you're thinking about the liturgical year and how you want to bring that into your home, think about your family. Think about, what are you gifted in? What do you love to do? What do you love to do with your family? Because that's how you're going to bring the liturgical year into your home. And so because I'm not crafty, that's not how I'm going to do it. But if you are crafty, maybe that's exactly how you're going to do it. And that's great. And so like my husband loves to cook. He's just an awesome cook. This is something he finds enjoyable and fun. I'm not an awesome cook. I'm okay, but it's not something I would do for fun. So his way of bringing the liturgical year into our home is to cook a special meal, and he just loves to do that. Whereas I love to read to my kids. And so my favorite way to bring the liturgical year into our home is to like read picture books about the saints, picture books about Advent and Christmas, and reading with them. And that's just, it brings a lot of life to me. So you have to figure out, what do I love to do with my family? What brings life to me? What am I talented in? What am I going to enjoy doing? And that's what you should shoot for. Like this, there's not a certain way to do it. Like my friend Kendra Tierney at Catholic All Year, she is one of the Blessed She writers. She's awesome. She loves to throw like huge parties, like St. Patrick's Day. Like hundreds of people show up at her house for St. Patrick's Day. And she loves to do that, but you don't have to do that to be doing the liturgical year right. And there is no like award out there for the best liturgical family. It doesn't exist. And like none of us are going to get it. It's just about, here's a way to bring this to our home that's going to point us to Christ. And it's going to look different in each of your homes. And that's awesome. Okay. So the liturgical year shouldn't be a burden. It should be a gift. That's like number one thing to remember. And it's important to us. It matters because as humans, we're wired for story. And the liturgical year is basically the big story, like the circular story of God loving humanity. And so it starts at Advent. We go through Christmas. We go through Epiphany and Lent and Easter. And we're just walking with Jesus through the year. And every year we do it and it starts to transform us. And so this isn't like something you have to do the right way or do all of these things all at once. This is just something that you rest in, that carries you through the year, that reorients us and turns us towards Jesus. So because there's so many awesome resources on the internet, I think a lot of times you can feel like you have to do everything, that there's all these saints days and there's all these things you can do for different seasons, and you have to do it all to be doing it. But you really cannot do everything, and not just you kind of can't do everything. Like you literally cannot do everything because there are thousands of saints. And you, even if it was your full-time job to observe every saint's feast, you would not get it done. So just take a deep breath. This is just like baby steps turning us towards Jesus. This is not a giant checklist. Okay, so I'm going to go over some of the different seasons of the liturgical year, maybe share briefly some easy practical ways for us to observe those times in our homes. But even just that can sound overwhelming if this hasn't been part of your family culture. So don't feel overwhelmed. For our first Advent that we celebrated, we got Advent candles and we lit our Advent candles at dinner every night. And that's the only thing we did. And that's fine because that was our first year. We were doing one thing and we didn't need to add a million things. And so every year that this becomes part of your family culture, you'll be able to add things and that'll feel natural. But if you add everything at once, you're just going to be so stressed out and overwhelmed. But now all the prep work, I think Jenna might have disappeared, but hopefully y'all can still hear me. Oh, she's back. She's back. So where was I? Advent candles. Liturgical year. I don't know. Jenna, you disappeared and everything disappeared out of my brain. But if you are doing just one thing, like Advent candles, then the next year that's part of your tradition already. And so it's not like you're reinventing the wheel every year. This becomes part of your toolbox and part of your traditions. Just like Thanksgiving is part of our lives. Every year we do Thanksgiving, we start doing the same recipes, and then like, oh, I know how to make my great grandmother's pie. I have the recipe in my head because I make it every year. It just becomes part of your life. And so, especially if you have kids, they will remember what you did last year and they will remind you. And there's certain things that you've put together and they're in the closet ready to bring down. You don't have to do it all over again. Okay, so baby steps. We are easing into the liturgical year. This is not a terrible, stressful thing. Okay, so consider what you love doing with your kids, what you love doing with your family, how you can bring that in. If you're a musician, music might be a really big part of the liturgical year for you. Maybe it's food, maybe it's crafts. There's so many different ways to do this. So consider those things. I'm gonna list out some resources, but I don't want you to get overwhelmed, particularly with the internet. If you feel like you're easily overwhelmed, maybe don't look up anything on the internet. And I'll just give you a couple of books that I think are really good. But if you want to go the internet route, and you promise you won't get overwhelmed, because there's tons and tons of stuff, and so much of it is so great. I do a little monthly roundup of posts on my blog for the next month's feasts and liturgical seasons. So I didn't do one this month, sorry, but I usually do those. So you can find them at carrotsformichaelmas.com and just search for liturgical living at a glance. So I put them all together. But the sites I usually draw from are Catholic All Year, which is Kendra's site, is awesome. Just get ideas. Don't feel like you have to do everything she is. She's kind of a superwoman. I can't do everything she does. It's okay. Solidarity. And A Knotted Life, which is Bonnie Engstrom's blog, and she is fantastic. She's got some great ideas for doing things with kids that aren't like super crafty, like even I can do them. So let's do that. And another site is Catholic Cuisine, which I like, but I'll tell you my beef with the site. My beef with the site is that it's a lot of cakes and cookies, and my kids are allergic to gluten, and I'm allergic to my kids when they've had sugar, and so I can't really handle doing all the cakes and cookies. But they do have some other things, and it just helps to get some ideas for all that. Oh, hey Bonnie, you're here. That's so fun. I was just talking about you. So those are some great sites just to get ideas for how to bring these things into your home. I usually add the picture books I'm reading for different saints' days in my Liturgical Living at a Glance post. So maybe that's helpful to some of you. I just really like to keep collecting those books and bringing them together, and my children's really like reading them. So as far as books go, let me grab some. This is the first one I got. It's called The Catholic Home by Meredith Gould. And it's just very accessible, not overwhelming. I highly recommend it as an introduction to the liturgical year. It's a really nice book. So it's a little paperback. You can find it on Amazon, I'm sure.
Haley, what was that one called?
Called The Catholic Home, and it's by Meredith Gould. And then another great one that it's more in depth. So if you feel like you're going to be overwhelmed, start with The Catholic Home. But this one is The Little Oratory by Lila Lawler. And it's just very beautiful. It goes into a lot of detail about the liturgical year, how it works, why it works that way. And there's lots of like very practical, detailed explanations and tips and things. But don't promise me you won't be overwhelmed. So if you read this, just take it slow. It's very inspiring, but if you feel less inspired and more overwhelmed by this sort of thing, then maybe do this next year. Okay. And then a super fun one is Drinking with the Saints, The Sinner's Guide to a Holy Happy Hour by Michael Foley. And it is just this beautiful, like, get it for your husband for Father's Day. It's a hardback. It's gorgeous. And it has like tons and tons of cocktail recipes and just like everything related to the saints, information about the saints. Like, it's a masterpiece and it's just super fun. So if you feel stressed out by the liturgical year, you might not feel stressed out after trying out some of these recipes. So there's that. And then Daniel and I actually put together a little liturgical year book of things that we wish we had, like what we wish we had when we were first starting out. Because for us, really all we could handle was making dinner because I guess we discovered liturgical year when we had our first baby and everything was crazy. So we could eat dinner and that's pretty much all we could do. So our book is just some introduction to the liturgical year and some reflections on the different seasons. And then it's just really simple recipes it's mostly entrees for different feast days with information about different saints. And it's just very low key. So that's our book. It's called Feast, Real Food, Reflections, and Simple Living for the Christian Year. So that's that. And do we want to give away a couple of copies, Jenna? Jenna is going to randomly choose a couple of attendees.
Are we doing that right now?
Let's do it.
All right.
Bucks.
You wanted 2 or 3?
Let's do 3.
Oh, you're being very generous.
Let's do 3.
Okay, first winner, Ali Novakowski.
Woo!
Because I wanted to say your name.
Yay, Ali.
You win a book. What do they do, Haley? Are we going to email you?
Ooh, yes, email me. Email me your mailing address. My email. Here, I'll do
put your email in there.
It's haley.s.stewart@gmail.com. So send me your mailing address.
Perfect. All right, okay, Amanda M. Beck. And one more. Oh my gosh, I just lost it. Where did it go? Heather Johnson.
Yay.
Okay.
Okay, cool.
Ladies.
So that's fun. I will send you books in the mail. And for everybody who didn't win, I'm sorry, I wish I could give everyone books. But just so you know, right now our book, Feast, the ebook version is on super sale in a bundle called the Ultimate Homemaking Bundle. So it's our book. There's dozens of other cookbooks and books on organization and just basically anything that would help out tired moms who need crockpot recipes and organizational help. And things that are just going to make things easier on a mom and help her bless her family. So that is available right now. So the whole bundle is $29.97, and there's 97 ebooks and e-courses, and then there's over $300 worth of bonuses. Like I got a planner, I got some beautiful wall art from Hope Inc. There's just some really fun things that I love to get stuff in the mail. So you get free stuff in the mail. So if you want to check that out, here, I'll just put my blog. Oh, you've got it for me. There's the bundle. I think that's right. Here, I'll just put my blog right here. And if you click over there, you'll see links to the bundle in the first post. So that's one way to get our book if you want to. Okay, so moving on, I wanted to answer some of the awesome questions that y'all left when you signed up. So one of the questions was, how do I celebrate with different ages of children in my home? So as far as like, if you have a variety of ages, my advice is always dinner, that like everybody loves food. So food could be where you all meet. It doesn't mean that you have to make amazing meals every night and that you have to be an amazing cook. It just means that the time around the table is the time you're going to be spending together, bringing the liturgical year into your home, because you have to eat dinner anyway. And so if you can get to daily mass for a special day, so much the better. If you can just make it to dinner, you make it to dinner and you have that special time together around the table. And when we really take the time to be together as a family around the table and treat that as sacred space, that's a really special time. And it's like a shadow of the Eucharist. You know, it's not the Eucharist, but it's a shadow of that. It can be like a little image of that in our home in the domestic church. So if you have wide variety of ages, toddlers love to eat, 20-year-olds love to eat, that is like a great time to be together. And a question about introducing the liturgical year to the 2 and under crowd. Toddlers, you know, they're not going to maybe grasp a ton about what is going on and all that's behind what you're doing. But they can appreciate beauty and they can still be affected by beauty and the beauty of the liturgical year and the different traditions. And that can be part of them, even if they're not understanding all that means. And so one of the things I love to do is listen to music for different seasons of the liturgical year. And my kids get really excited about getting, you know, it's Advent now, we get to listen to that CD by, it's Advent at Ephesus. I'm trying to think. It's the Benedictines of Mary, Queen of the Apostles. And they're just have beautiful voices and they sing beautiful ancient hymns, and they have an Advent one and an Easter one and a Lent one. And so we listen to that and love them. There's another great album by Colleen Nixon, and I'm trying to remember I think it's called In the Bleak Midwinter. And it starts out in Advent, and then it goes through Christmas, and it goes through Epiphany. And it's really, really beautiful. So they love to listen to that too. Listen to the Messiah, listen to, you know, when we get to Christmas, I have like a Sufjan Stevens Advent playlist and then a Sufjan Stevens Christmas playlist. You know, it's really fun. Like, kids love music. You can just have it playing in your home. It's not like a huge thing. You just get on Spotify and turn on your Advent playlist. So that's fun for kids. Things like the nativity scene and Advent, you know, stuff that they can touch is so fun for kids. Having icons on the wall that they can look at. I mean, we're all sensory, but kids are especially sensory. Okay, name of the first CD. The first CD is Advent at Ephesus, and it's the Benedictines of Mary, Queen of the Apostles. And they have several CDs, and they're all just beautiful. So those are some ideas. Anytime you light a candle, a toddler is going to think you're doing something really special. And so if you're just lighting a candle at dinner time, if you're lighting your Advent candles, that's going to be meaningful to them. It doesn't have to be a huge thing. These are just little things, and they will remember. Like, it will be important to them. Anything that is slightly different, they're going to pick up on and they're going to want to participate in. Another question was, how do you celebrate the liturgical year with adults or invite neighbors to the party? How do you orient extended family to observing the liturgical year? I think that bringing the liturgical year into your family is one of the most fun ways to share your faith with other people. Usually people are not freaked out by that, and they're excited to come over and have food with you and for you to share a little bit about what you're celebrating. Even like something like St. Patrick's Day, everybody knows what St. Patrick's Day is, but you could come over and be like, hey, yeah, we really love St. Patrick and we're celebrating him, and have a Guinness, and this is what we're doing. And that matters to people, and then you can invite them to mass. We had a lot of fun. You know, I am not the good cook, but my husband is the good cook, and he actually did the Feast of the Seven Fishes for Christmas Eve this year. And so he did a 7-course seafood meal, and we invited people, and so people came over, and then some of them went with us to midnight mass afterwards for Christmas, even though they'd never been to mass before. And it was really special. It was really fun. So I think that's just such a natural way to share your faith, is just by opening your home and inviting someone into your traditions. It doesn't have to be, Kinder Tierney's Huli for 300 people or however many people show up at her house, but it could just be you and 2 friends that came over and you're having a cocktail and talking about St. Patrick. So I think I just heard my son is like out the window saying hello to me. Hey. Okay. So, yeah, and I think that's a great thing to invite people to. We love St. Michael. We love celebrating Michaelmas, which is September 29th, the Feast of the Archangels. And we like roast. If we have a goose, we roast a goose. If we can't find a goose, which we usually can't, we roast a chicken. And we do the same menu every year. We love to have people over. So it's just really fun. And with extended family, I think that sometimes that's tricky because you may be juggling different religious traditions. Jenna's gone, but I'm still here. She's back. You're juggling different religious traditions sometimes, and that can be tricky because you want to be preserving these relationships. Hang on just a second. I think my children are upset. My husband's with them, but I'm going to shut the window so that you can't hear them. So hang on just a second. All right, hopefully that's okay. I'm back. So I think with extended family, you kind of have to, probably varies with situation, but one way that my parents aren't Catholic, so they're not really into the saints, or maybe a little bit getting into the saints, but we had them over for the feast of St. Anne and St. Joachim, which is in July. And they're the grandparents of Jesus. So we said, hey, we're celebrating these saints that are the grandparents of Jesus, and we wanted to honor you as grandparents and have you over for dinner. So we just had a special dinner, and I don't think it freaked them out or anything. And it was really fun. I think sometimes around the holidays, you have to tread a little bit more carefully because holiday traditions are really important to people and important to extended family. And so since we've converted, we've tried to figure out, okay, like, we want to go to mass on Christmas morning, so we'll just need to show up a little bit later to open presents with you then, kind of figuring all that out. But I think for the most part, you want to err on the side of being inclusive and inviting extended family to these things. And if they decline, they decline. If they're not comfortable, that's okay. But you wouldn't want them to feel excluded. So I think I'd err on the side of just going ahead and inviting, and then try not to get your feelings hurt if they're not comfortable coming. Pentecost stuff. Okay, so we do not have any good Pentecost traditions, but you should look up, I think it's on Kendra's blog, there's something involving fire and flames. Maybe they do a bonfire? I don't know.
Awesome. Tracy Bua Smith does pancakes for Pentecost. She said,
oh, fun.
That's so cute.
Yeah, that's fun. Your kids will remember anything like that. Like I think from Kendra, we got the idea of doing waffles for dinner on the Feast of the Annunciation. And like my kids, it was like the best day of their lives that they ate waffles for dinner, and they'll remember that and they connect with the Annunciation. So it doesn't have to be anything crazy, but yeah, fire would be so fun. I think that's a great idea. Okay, so are there certain days that are more important than others, and how do you tell? This is a really good question. I actually had to look up a few things because I wanted to be sure. So there are days that are more important than others. Basic rule of thumb, like very simple rule of thumb, is that if it's a day of holy obligation, that means it's a big feast, and that's going to be more important than other things. So like St. Patrick's Day is a big deal in American culture, but it's not actually like a holy day of obligation or anything like that. So something like the Feast of the Ascension this Thursday is a much bigger deal than St. Patrick's Day, even though it's not celebrated that way in the US. So there's 3 kinds of feasts. We kind of use the word feast to mean all 3 of them, but there's actually 3 different kinds. So there's some solemnities. Those are going to be the highest, most important feasts. So that's like Easter, Pentecost, the Immaculate Conception, those sorts of things. Then under solemnities is feasts, and those honor a mystery or title of the Lord or of Our Lady or of saints of particular importance. So, and I think, somebody correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that the title of feast can change depending on different part of the world that you're in. And yes, Kate, solemnities mean meet on Friday. Even if it's a Friday, if it's a solemnity, that means meet Friday, and that's always really fun. And then below feasts is memorials. So those are honoring saints, but they may also celebrate some aspect of our Lord or of Mary, but they're going to be not as important as feasts or not as important as solemnities. So now I know, because Sarah asked that great question, and now you know too. Hopefully everybody's church hands out those really helpful calendars with all the saints' days and seasons on them. If your church doesn't, definitely order one. It just really helps to have it up on the wall to know what's coming next. So that's what we always do. That's kind of how we look forward at things. And another great question was, if you have children who remember celebrating secular holidays before conversion, like your recent converts and your children have been growing up doing holidays a certain way, and now you want to incorporate the liturgical year, what do you do? And I think that is a tricky question, because you definitely don't want your children to feel like they're being robbed of these traditions that are really special to them, and those traditions are being replaced with something that's unfamiliar. So I think that maybe what you'd want to do is bring in some new traditions and see if you can, orient some of those secular traditions towards the liturgical living. But you can do both and there's nothing bad about secular traditions. Like, you can go trick-or-treating for Halloween, and the next day go to Mass for All Saints, and the next day go and pray at a cemetery for All Souls Day. And all those things are going to be meaningful to your kids. It's not like we can't go trick-or-treating anymore because tomorrow is All Saints Day. So I think that you can bring those things together, figure out what works for your family and for your kids. But one of the things I love about being Catholic is kind of a both and. It has a both and culture where you can go trick-or-treating and you can remember that it's All Hallows Eve as well. And all that means together. Like, every year my kids make this cake with their grandparents that looks like a bunny rabbit, and they're just so into this cake, and it's really important to them to do this every Easter Sunday. And it doesn't have anything to do with Jesus's resurrection, but it's not a bad thing, and they can do it every year. We're doing other things for Easter that are specifically oriented towards what Easter really means, and they do the bunny cake with their grandparents, and it's something that they can share together. So I don't think anyone has to feel like they have to completely sever all ties with their past in order to do everything differently. And Kate's got a great idea for a Catholic planner with feast days. It's the Catholic Daily Planner, and she put the link, and that sounds really good. Okay, we had one question about, what if you're in poor health and you're in survival mode? How do you do this when you're exhausted and overwhelmed? And I think, like Jenna said in her intro, how she wants to do things exceptionally, or she doesn't want to do them at all. The liturgical year doesn't have to work that way. So you can just do things, just baby steps of things, and that's going to be valuable. And so if all you do for a saint's feast is that after the kids go to bed, you have a cocktail to celebrate, that is celebrating the liturgical year. You've done it right, And if it's just, okay, tonight for dinner, we're going to light a candle and we're going to ask this saint to pray for us because it's their feast day. That's liturgical year. You're doing it. You don't have to do anything crazy. And that during those survival seasons of life, it can be super simple. So yeah, I feel like the name of this game tonight is don't be overwhelmed. Don't be stressed out. There's an easy way to do it. That if it brings life to your family, then you're doing it right. One really good question was saying like, hey, what about very busy families? They're only together during the dinner hour. They don't have a lot of time together, do tons of activities. And this might be like making this mom feel like a failure that she only has this time to do everything. And really, that's okay. Like what I said before, dinner time is the perfect time to do the liturgical year. And so if that's the only time you have together as a family, that is fine. You can do this. So if it's Advent, that's when you light your Advent candles and eat a simple meal. And remember, we're eating beans and rice because this is a simple time where we're preparing ourselves to really party at Christmas and really understand what that means and get ready. And maybe at Advent, you learn the St. Andrew's Christmas Novena as a family, and your kids will learn it before you do, because my kids learned it before I did. They had it memorized. And then you have dinner together, maybe sing an Advent hymn as you light your candles. And that's going to be very impactful for your children. That will make an impact on them. My kids remember our Advent hymn that we sing, and they love getting to sing it again right before dinner. They love lighting the Advent candle. I mean, they're just candles. You just light them. They love it so much. They are so excited. And so the very simple things matter immensely to them. So do not feel like, because I can't go all out and do all these things, this isn't going to be meaningful to my family. I'm like failing them somehow. You are not. Like, very simple things matter so much. So I thought it would be cool to go a little bit into, before we're done, I can't believe we've already gone through 40 minutes. So I'll try to finish up my last stuff fast so we can answer more questions. But I just want to go through the season, just talk about ballpark ideas about how to celebrate different seasons. So we talked a little bit about Advent. You can do Advent candles. There's the St. Andrew Christmas Novena. You can do music. We're just remembering Christ is the light of the world. We are waiting for him to come. And that is the goal of Advent, preparing ourselves to receive him at Christmas. And really, for me, for Advent, the challenge, and I think probably for a lot of you, is that the holidays are so crazy and there's so many things to be involved in. And it's a matter of having to say no, because we're kind of protecting this time for our family. So obviously, if we bake cookies with grandma every second Saturday of Advent, and we've been doing that every year, you're not going to stop doing that. You're going to say yes to grandma and you're going to bake those cookies because you need to do that with grandma. But if it's like we thought about going to this Christmas movie that we don't really have to go to, maybe we'll wait. We're going to save that thing, and we're going to save it for Christmas time, just so we have special things to do then, and we're having a simple time now. So for me, it's really a matter of, it's kind of a sacrifice to say no to some of these things that are fun and that I really want to do, because I want to protect that time to prepare so that we can really go all out and have so much fun at Christmas time. And then the 12 days of Christmas, I guess we've been celebrating the 12 days of Christmas for 2 or 3 years now. So now we have kind of some things that we do every year. We watch White Christmas under the Christmas tree and camp out there one night. We'll go to, we'll do just different little things that aren't huge, but just a little fun thing every day. Like we'll make paper snowflakes one day. I don't make them, but I throw scissors and paper at my children and they make them. So just little things that make each day special, nothing crazy. And then during Lent, by bringing your family into it, I just want to say, Bonnie's here, so I can give her another shout out. We did a podcast with her about Lent and bringing some Lenten ideas into your family, and it was really fun. So here, I'll give you I don't have the exact link, but here is the podcast link, and you can just search for Bonnie Engstrom and Lent, and she's had some great things to share about Lent, and we shared some links from her blog too. So Lent, you might be giving up something for yourself, but think about giving up something as a family, making it a family thing. Maybe we're giving up meat 2 days a week, and we're saving a little bit of that money to give to the poor. Maybe we're giving up Netflix, and that would be a huge sacrifice for me and for my children. So maybe it's something like that, but we're all involved. We're all doing this together. We're going to Stations of the Cross, adding a couple of things. And during Lent, instead of Okay, thanks, Jenna. You found it. Instead of our Advent candles being in the center of the table during Lent, I'll just have one candle in the middle and do a grapevine wreath. And that reminds us of the crown of thorns. So it's just like a tiny little thing, but it's very helpful to my kids to see a visual thing that's going to help them remember what time of the Christian year it is. And one thing that, I mean, it might be too much, but this is something my son loves to do, is I have some purple cloth, and there, right before Passion Week, he goes around the house and he finds all the crosses and crucifixes and our icons, and he covers them with purple cloth. And that's just, he loves to do it. Then it looks like Lent everywhere, and he remembers every year, even if I don't. For the saints, one of my favorite things in the world is the saints, and it's so fun to have the saints as a Catholic. And so encountering the saints in the liturgical year was one of the things that Daniel and I just loved when we were coming to the faith. And so I'll tell you kind of how we do things. This is not how you have to do it, but this is helpful for us. So if we see a saint that's coming up that maybe we want to know more about, or that we know a little bit about, feel a devotion to, and really want to honor, we'll look up a little bit about that saint, and my husband will look up some recipes. Maybe like for St. Thomas Aquinas, maybe he'll look up a recipe from where St. Thomas grew up, like that, something that is particular to that region. Or maybe he'll find that there is a part of the world that's really devoted to that saint, and there's something that they have always eaten on his or her feast day that's special, and we'll do an easy version of that. Or, I mean, it can be so simple, like, oh, it's St. Catherine of Siena's feast day, we're gonna have pizza. You know, it's Italian. It doesn't have to be tricky. It's a great way to introduce the saint to your children and say, here's why we're eating this today. And here's who this saint is, and this is why we honor them. This is how they showed the light of Christ to us, and this is why we want to be more like them. And it also can remind us to that we're connected. We're connected to these saints. We're connected to Christians all over the world, even whose lives look really different from us. And it's a time that we can pray for the persecuted church too, especially if we're honoring a martyr. We can remember, you know, there are martyrs being made today. So that's just something that really, the conversation comes out so organically with your kids over the dinner table. So that's kind of how we do saints. I do love this resource, Holy Heroes, for their glory. They're called glory stories. And here, I'll write that down. Glory stories from Holy Heroes. And they're like little audio stories on CD about different saints. And my kids have really enjoyed them. They're really well done. So those are another really great way to kind of introduce your kids to the saints and make that part of your family culture. So lots of shout outs for glory stories. I know everybody loves glory stories. They're so good. I love glory stories. Listen to them on road trips too. That's the best. And then as far as, you know, maybe it's not a season or it's a saint's day, but some things to just bring faith into the home. You can treat every Sunday as a little Easter. So like what we do is, well, my kids are all allergic to gluten, so they never get pancakes. So we buy gluten-free pancake mix just to have on Sunday mornings. And it's what we do every Sunday. And they're like, yay, it's a little Easter. We get pancakes for our poor little deprived gluten-free bodies. And they're so excited. And so it's, I mean, that's so simple, but it's just a little tradition. It matters to them. It reminds them it's Sunday and Sunday's different. We're going to have pancakes, then we're going to go to Mass. And bringing prayer into the home is now, especially now that my oldest is 7 and my middle is 4, like trying to bring prayer into the home is hard for me. Jenna and I were talking the other day about our temperaments, that we're both sanguines, and sanguines have a really hard time with spiritual discipline. We're just going, stopping and reflecting and praying. Like, this is hard for us. So personally, I have to, all of my prayer has to be connected to food, because I don't forget to eat, but I will forget to pray. And so breakfast time is when we can pray the guardian angel prayer for the day and our morning offering. And then lunch is when we can pray the Angelus. And then my husband is so sweet, and he always prays the rosary with the kids when he's trying to get them all to sleep. He prays the rosary over them. So those are just some things you can bring into your life, and you can bring them into different parts of the day until they become part of your daily ritual. But you don't need to do them all at once. Just add one little thing at a time until that becomes second nature, and then add another thing. This is not about add 10 prayers to every one of your days right now, tomorrow, do it. This is just one thing at a time. Oh, and someone says, I'd love a copy of those prayers. If you go to here, I don't know what post they're all in, but if you go to Kendra's blog, Catholic All Year, she has made printables of a lot of those prayers, and I just printed them out and framed them. I put them up in my house, and they're free. I mean, they're free to download, and you can just, I would just search printable prayer on Catholic All Year, and those are super, super great. And having them, I'm super visual, so having them up on the wall reminds me to pray. If they're not up on the wall, I have a hard time remembering. So those are just some ways to bring prayer into your home. Seeing if there's any other questions I was trying to answer. Oh, how far in advance should you plan liturgical activities for each month? I am a terrible planner, so I can't answer your question. I mean, we're very much a fly by the seat of your pants kind of family. So Daniel will be like, right before dinner, he'll say, I just realized it's so-and-so's feast day. We're going to make nachos. You know, it's just a last minute thing for us. If you're the sort of person that is going to plan out your month ahead of time, just put those things on your calendar. You know, you do you. You know the best way to make this work for you. I cannot plan ahead to save my life. So I should not answer that question for you. I do seem to get things done ahead of time for Advent and Lent, I guess just because they're whole seasons and I'm thinking about them coming up. I'm able to get ready for those a little bit better. How do you organize your stuff for the liturgical year? I mean, personally, I just write entire books, or I put it all in blog posts, but that's not super helpful to you. My friend Kelly Mantone uses a binder, and I know that, okay, Jenna, maybe you can find it. She did a guest post for my blog, and it's called Liturgical Binder is in the title. But I know that, I think, Alicia, I think you said that binder was not working for you. So, I mean, one thing you could do is put like any of your cookbooks or liturgical yearbooks like all up on a shelf, right, you know, next to the kitchen or something, and you can have little like tabs for different days. That might work for you. Coming up with just like a Google Doc for yourself that's on the computer might help some of you. I like to have like things I can touch. That's just going to be more helpful for me. So yes, let me just mention one thing, and then we can go to questions because we are almost running out of time. So I just wanted to mention again that the homemaking bundle that has our book that I mentioned earlier, the sale is only tonight and tomorrow, and then it's gone. So I didn't want to forget to tell you that and have you realize that, you know, you show up Tuesday and it's disappeared. So it's $29.97. And it disappears tomorrow night. So go ahead. I definitely recommend just clicking over and seeing all that's included and seeing if it would be a good fit for you. There are tons of resources, and I've been ordering this bundle for maybe 4 years. I've never read all of them, and that's not how it's designed. So if you're thinking like 93 ebooks, I will never finish them. Of course you won't. That's not how it's designed. It's more just so that there'll be something for everyone, and you can choose maybe 10 that are really going to impact you and be valuable to you. So, because really, if you just get 3 or 4 of those ebooks, that would more than make it worth the value. And I thought I would also mention that if you have any questions that I can't answer later, you can email me. I put my email address up there earlier. And you can also find me on Instagram. I'm at Haley Carrots. On Insta, let me write that down. And on Twitter. It's the same for both of those. So that is that. And Jenna, do you have any other questions that you've seen come through that I missed? Ooh, Bonnie has a good note about she makes sure all the feast days that she might want to celebrate are already written on like her big monthly calendar, so that when she's going through, she can see, oh, is that going to fit in? Can we work that in? Which is a great idea. And I wanted to mention also, if you're like, I want to start celebrating Saints' Days, but I don't know where to start with that. One great thing to do is if there's any, like if anyone in your family has a patron saint, you can find out that saint's day, or if your name has a connection to a saint, you can find ones that are specific to your family, and then think about a few that you have a connection with. Really, I mean, once a month, honoring a saint, that's like a great goal. It doesn't need to be a once a week, and definitely not an every night thing. So if you can cover the patron saints in your family, a couple of their saints are important to you, like that is awesome. Okay, Jenna, take it away.
That was awesome. Okay, a question oh, okay, this is funny because I just learned this year. Or I mean yesterday. Can you explain fasting from meat or like abstaining from something every Friday, and that it's not just for Lent? Like, is that an actual church teaching?
Okay. This is what I understand. And Bonnie or someone correct me if I'm not getting this right. That every Friday we should abstain from meat unless we choose a different penance. And so during Lent, we have to, like, it's an obligation to abstain from meat as the penance. But when you're not in Lent, you need to abstain from meat or choose a different penance. So, and that other penance can be up to you. You know, you can do a good deed, you can do certain prayers. It's something to remind you of Christ's sacrifice and your spiritual growth. And but you know what, I really like just giving up meat every Friday, partly because then I don't mess up so much during Lent, because it's like, oh yeah, I'm used to this, because that's just the worst. Like this last Lent, I like bit into a taco and then I was like, oh, it's Friday. No. Worst. So I just would rather do it every week. And I also like doing it every week because it is kind of like a solid, like making that part of Catholic culture again, I think is cool, because then it's like, yeah, hey, Catholics, like, we're not eating meat today. It's something we're all in together and we're doing the same thing. And I like that community. So like Mary said, it is an actual church teaching. We are supposed to abstain from meat every Friday unless we replace that with a penance. So that is the deal with that. But like Jenna said, that is not common knowledge. It's like during Lent and then nobody talks about it. So don't feel bad if you didn't know that.
You said some awesome books for like earlier about diving into the liturgical year. Can you just share? I always like to hear people's like favorite spiritual text, not just like specific to liturgical year or anything like that, but something that's kind of helped you grow in your faith.
Yeah, that's such a good question. I think just because of the way my brain works, I actually connect more with Catholic novels than I do with nonfiction spiritual writing. Although, like, there's so much great stuff out there, and it's not like I have no connection to that. But I think that because story is so important to me, what sticks with me is fiction novels that just communicate amazing truths about grace and who God is and truths of the faith. So some of my absolute favorites are, and this is a great Lenten read, is In This House of Breed. I'll write it down. In This House of Breed by Rumer Godden. It is a beautiful, beautiful book. It's about a community of Benedictine nuns. And when I was describing it to my husband and telling him, like, it is a page turner, like, I can't put this book down, he was like, isn't it a book about nuns, like in a convent? But like, it is amazing. It's beautiful. Another one of my absolute favorites, which honestly converted me practically, is Brideshead Revisited by Evelyn Waugh. And that one might not be for everyone, but it just impacted me so much. So it's a 20th century novel, and I mean, I can't even cover it. But if you read it and you feel like I'm not getting into this and you're on page like 100, just stick with it until the last 40 pages, because I think the last 40 pages will, here we go. Yes, Alexander. Yes. Bride said, I hated it until I finished it. Then it impacted me. Like those last few pages are what make the book. And if you feel like I don't understand where this is going, that's okay. Like just when you get to the end, it will like blow your mind. But that is like the book about grace to me, about God's grace. I also love Flannery O'Connor's works, but she's like, it's weird. It's Southern Gothic, kind of grotesque. But it's just also, it's about grace. I think all good books are kind of about grace. As far as spiritual writings go, I love St. Francis de Sales and his Introduction to a Devout Life. I just think it's so good. And just it being written hundreds of years ago, but so applicable to every one of us. So I love that one. I love that one too.
That's awesome. Thank you. That was a lot of books. I have a lot of reading to do. I heard about a really good one, Hind's Feet in High Places.
Yeah.
Have you heard of that?
I have. I read it when I was like a little girl, I think.
Oh, no way.
I think it's big like I grew up Protestant. I think it's big in Protestant culture.
Oh,
but I remember that book. Yeah.
Yeah, I heard it's really good. That's on my list of things to read. Okay. Anything else you want to close out? It's 7. It's time.
Yeah. I just want to say thank you, everyone who showed up and spent your Sunday night with us. I'm just had such a blast talking to you and so glad that you're here. And I hope that this just made you feel like, hey, the liturgical year, this is something I can do. And Christy and I were just talking to our friend, Dr. Greg Hillis, on the podcast. He was talking about how so many of us feel like, well, we have a vocation to marriage, and so we can't be contemplative, or like we can't bring these things, these spiritual practices into our lives. And he was talking about Thomas Merton and how Thomas Merton really wanted everyone to know that they could be contemplative, and that really all it takes is starting with like 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes of quiet in your day. And I like to pretend I don't have that much time to be quiet in my day, but I do. I just spend it watching Netflix. And so, we need to take these baby steps. We can do it. And it doesn't have to be, it can be something that can be a gift and can bless our lives and our homes, instead of being something that's going to like draw energy out from us. Like this is going to be a blessing to us. So I just want you to have that and be blessed by that and be able to enjoy this gift that the church has given us. So thank you guys so much.
Yeah, thank you all so much for coming. It was a great conversation. I loved all of the dialogue and all of the tips that everyone gave to each other and to me. I'm so excited because I feel like you really laid it out in simple terms and like made me think about what my gifts are and what gives me life. And so I really want to think about those things more when living liturgically with my family. So thank you so much, Haley. Thank you for everyone who came. And I look forward to doing this again one day.
Yeah, let's do it. Thanks so much, y'all. Take care.
Bye, guys.